Ooh, on to the quiz now. Where's my quiz? Yeah, boom. I don't know if anyone's here for the quiz. It's going to be quite sad if they are. But we've got 6 questions, all about the 70 SAS cap. So start up. It should pop up if I remember, if I've done this correctly. There we go. Just in the little box. Excellent. So, if this is your first time playing the quiz, if you go to the side of your screen, it will have a little pop-up for Quizit. If you allow Quizit to just take a look at your... If you allow consent for Quizit to use your name, will pop up in the leaderboards. You can flex and show off your scores. And it's fastest finger first. So whoever answers the question correctly gets points. And if you answer it the fastest, you get more points. Do you think that I'm going to pass on, of the houses the highest escape could be a symptom of a better defined meta? But we've seen the trend go all the way up. I think Dark Tidings has not been received as well as it should have been because it came late. It came without much support from FFG. I think it's a good set. It's for me. I've always said it's the same as AOA. Fans split on it. Fans made the community made a very quick decision on it. There was a lot of bad decks that came first, and there are some very, very powerful Dark Tidings decks. I've come across them. They can even outpace KOTE. But it feels too much like AOA. But it's one of those things for me, Andrew. Keyforge has never really had a meta. It's more individual play styles. For example, when I had jokes, I've recently sold. I sold jokes a couple of months ago. That was a autopilot deck. It wasn't my play style, and that's why I kind of came to separate it. But I know players who love Genka, who love Control. Keyforge is one of those ones where players are forced to play outside of their playstyle, and that can cause issues where a good deck performs badly. I've got a good friend who got top 4 at the UK Vault Tour 2 years ago, and when we did a reversal event, they brought a deck. And I looked at the SAS. It was at the time. It was when SAS was back up at when it was doing ridiculous numbers, and it was a high SAS deck. It had really competitive shadows on there, and they brought it to a reversal event because they just couldn't get on with the deck. And when they played against me, literally in about 3 or 4 turns, I completely wiped them. And I went, "This is a really good deck. You shouldn't bring it to reversal." And it's like I've never won a game with it. Keyforge is more about individual playstyles, and the more flexible you are, the better you can be at it, than a more defined meta. That's why when you go to Vault Tours, when you go to events, it's not like you can look at recent events and go, okay, this is a deck everyone's going to be playing because this is a deck on X. It's not a deck construction. People will just bring decks they think can do well, and there isn't really. I don't think Keyforge will ever have a defined meta because every deck is different. Keyforge trading is very interesting. I've only done it once or twice, and usually it's just deck for deck. I've happily thrown in other decks as well. I've traded with Jupiter, who's basically he's done me 2 decks for a deck and other things like that. I've traded it at reversal events because I like picking up Soul Snatcher decks, especially ones that I've got quite interested on low SAS because I like to play them. And it's kind of like when you've got janky rares in Magic and stuff like that. People like to do 1-for-1 and feel like they're getting a good deal, but that's one big thing I've got with Keyforge's secondary market. It seems to be more primarily towards selling than trading. I've offered trades in the past, and when people are trading, they kind of want to get either people use SAS too much as a metric. So if you look at two decks and they go, okay, I want 270. They won't go, I want 270s for an 80. They'll go, I want a 79 and a 75 for my 80, because that 1 point of difference can make a huge difference. But sometimes I've had 78 at a charity event that was held online. My 78 SAS deck beat Jupiter's 96 SAS deck 3 keys to 1 because it was just a direct counter. So the secondary market in Keyforge is really interesting, and for me it's a buyer's market. It's all about what you're willing to trade, what you're willing to spend on a deck, because you're the one that puts value on it, wanting it. And a seller, a seller needs to be happy with that number, but in the end, if they want to sell that deck, they can have a price in mind, but the buyer's free to walk away, because although they'll never find the exact same deck as that, similar decks to that will pop up, and 1 or 2 SAS point scores don't make that much of a difference. I mean, like I said, I had Jokes, which was my ridiculous double prime winner deck, but I already had another KOTE deck that was eerily similar to it. So I've still got, and it's only 2 SAS points lower than it. It doesn't have anywhere near the same consistent win rate, but it's still a very similar deck if I wanted to take to events and keep people edge. But I'm digressing. My food's going to be here in an hour, so I'm going to get on with the quiz. But that's a really good question, Steph Falcon, and I would definitely take that. Well, if you look at the KFPL and Jupiter streams, I believe also in a few hours they'll also have Tabletop Royale going, and I really will go on there. Okay, I'll get onto that after the quiz. After the quiz there, Andrew, because it's been on there for a little bit. Well, so question number 1: at 75 SAS, what is the most frequent special card? Oh, that's not the right. Is that the right question? Because Ronnie Riscock's not a special card. But what's the most frequent? I'm going to go with common card on there. Because that might have messed up. I do apologise for that one, because that is not a special card. Ronnie's not a special card, Mad Penny's not a special card. 1% with Ronnie Risclocks, 1% with Bad Penny, that's fair, and a correct answer was Ronnie Risclocks. Actually, the problem is I can't do it without revealing the answers. Next question. Yeah, the questions have definitely messed up. So, what is the most common uncommon card? Lights Out, Hysteria, Nature's Cold, Beach Day. The questions seem to have messed themselves up. I do apologise for that. I don't know how that's happened. I double checked it before submitting them. So that's really weird. I'm sure I must have messed up somewhere along the way. One person with Hysteria, 1 person with Beach Day. For me trying to just frantically remember the questions, it's not too bad. Yeah, so most frequent uncommon card, and then the next question is the most frequent rare card. So, what is the most frequent rare card in the 75 SAS? Fuzzy Gruin, Stampede, Fertility Chance, or World Tree? And I bet 4, 5, and 6 are gonna have the first lot of questions as well, which is gonna be really good and annoying. This is in KOTE all decks. It's all decks at the 75 SAS. So it's not just KOTE 10, it's all decks that were submitted at 75 SAS. Litops goes through our decks and does quiz it and does all this beautiful metrics for us. Does a lot of hard work for it, and then also puts a little quiz at the end of it. The correct answer is Stampede, but Fuzzy Green and World Tree have still very good answers. So we're looking at Ronnie's clocks is 17 in that's SAS 70. Yeah, it should be 75. Lights out. There's 9. Stampede. There's 5. There we go. What's the most frequent special card? Technosaurus, Xenosaurus, Lycosaurus, or Umbrasaurus? So what is the most frequent special card? Oh, sorry about that, Stan Falcon. It's great to see you here. If you're from Poland, I would definitely say check out Can't Touch This with Not Tonight and Space Pope. They do some great stuff. I actually took part in the K online tournament that was held earlier this year, and it was a lot of fun to play with the Polish players online. It was just great to actually play a little bit, and the Polish community is a really friendly one and do some great stuff. I think that's because it popped up on the screen, but yeah, the correct answer is Lycosaurus. Thank you for Umbrasaurus, whoever went for it. So before I get back to your question, Andrew, how are you finding Stonebrick Brawl? How many Dark Amber Vaults are there? 0, 3, 7, or 1? 0, 3, 7, or 1. And asking him a question whilst he's also got to answer the other questions is quite fun. Let's wait for that to wrap up. 2 people went for 3, or 1 person went for 7, but the actual answer is 0. There's 1 Dark Amber Vault being played at SAS 70, but I'm pretty sure it's meant to be 75. And then the final question is, which of these rare cards isn't being played? Chanel, Horseman of Death, Z-Force Agent 14, or Dr. Proctor? Yeah, the League of Legends are about a lot of people have compared it to Hearthstone. I don't like that comparison because A, Blizzard's a complete dick of a company, and 2, they've gone out of the way to try and not make themselves too much like Battlegrounds. But I've started to see a lot. I've seen a lot of Magic the Gathering players coming up from it. I've seen a lot of Keyforge players. I've never played Battlegrounds. That's fair. I've played Battlegrounds a little bit, but then I stopped when all the stuff with Blizzard came out. 2 people went for Chanel and 1 person went for Horseman of Death, and Chanel was the correct answer. I was in a game just ranking up. I randomly came across Bizarro Dave from Reapout, who actually got into Mythic last month, so I was able to take part in the 2K tournaments that happened over the weekend. Unfortunately, they didn't make it into the top 128, but they still did really well getting to the top half of over, I think, like 400 players. They got over the top half. Ultimo takes the win with Crystal and Andrew right behind. So let's have a look at this real look.